do it. The New York Mets sweep the Subway Series, and they put an exclamation point on it tonight with all that power.
What is up, everybody? I'm back at it like crack addicts. Thanks for tuning in. Just got back from golf at Grassy Hill Course, just a few minutes away from my house, and it was not a good round. I have not played for weeks and just did not have it today. I three putted probably every hole, and it was like that for my whole group. It was a beautiful day, so at least we got to enjoy that, have some drinks, and have fun. When we got to the last hole, we saw some older gentlemen actually walking the course, and my buddy Daisy said, I don't think I would be walking a course that has the word hill in the title. Gigi is in Florida, so I've been able to hammer out more best ball drafts. I'll do a few more live. It's just really hard to record and pay attention to the draft, so I did a few without having the commentary. Training camps are ramping up, so we're getting some reports. Also, we're getting some deals done. Tua got his contract, 4 years, $212 million, and Jordan Love is now the highest paid quarterback, 4 years, $220 million. I like Jordan Love a lot. He proved it to everyone last year. And what really convinced me is the game he had against the Cowboys in the playoffs. That's when I said, okay, this guy's got it. Speaking of the Cowboys, we have CeeDee Lamb holding out, but I cannot imagine Dallas not paying him because without CeeDee Lamb, Dallas has no offense. So hopefully this doesn't linger for too long. Nothing too major as far as football news, some injuries to players, nothing really major yet. One player I saw over the weekend get a new injury was Kendre Miller. He's now dealing with a hamstring injury, and his head coach came out and said something to the effect of it's hard to make the roster when you're in the training room all the time. That's a little concerning to me, but for now, players are getting hurt. It's training camp. I think Miller is going to have a bigger role on this team, but again, it's camp. Let's see what happens. Switching to my New York Mets, and what can I say? I'm shocked to see them doing so well. I'm not too shocked. I always said, even in the beginning of the year, the offense is what will carry this team. But in the beginning of the year, they just all suck. Lindor, just wow, absolutely turning it around. And Mark Vientos, I'm thrilled about. He was crushing Double A and Triple A. He just couldn't do it in the majors, but he has done a complete 180. The whole lineup, top to bottom, surprisingly has done well. They completed the sweep of the Yankees, who have been second lately. Jeff McNeil coming through huge. It's fun to watch them. And now they hold the first wild card spot. And they went from sellers to definite deadline buyers. No question. They traded for Ryan Stanek, and they also traded for Jesse Winker, who I love as a player. I like these buy low guys. They're very good, and we didn't give up too much. And it kind of reminds me of 2015 when the Mets made their run. They got, I can't remember off the top of my, I think Juan Uribe, Kelly Johnson, and obviously Yoenis Cespedes, but they got two guys that they really needed to fill out their lineup. And Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe, I remember in 2015, did an amazing job. And I'm hoping that these two guys, these buy low guys, can do the same thing. Unfortunately, through all the positive news, Kodai Senga made his return, and it was a good one, but a short one. He went down in pain running off the mound to get out of the way of a pop-up. Didn't look too bad. He was able to walk off the field, I watched, with a slight limp, but now we know he has a high calf strain that's going to sideline him for 8 to 10 weeks, which absolutely sucks. He's missed all year, finally comes back, and now he's done. So I think the next move to make is grabbing a starting pitcher if they want to contend. They lost Christian Scott to a UCL injury. I'm not too sure what's going on there, but he might be shut down to be safe. So look for the Mets to add a pitcher. And on the slate for today, Manny will be joining me shortly to go over players that we will not be drafting. Well, more likely just staying away from their current draft positions. So when I come back, that's what we'll do. Be right back. All right, guys, I'm back and I'm joined here with Manny. What's good, bro?
What up? How's it going?
Just got done with a round of golf, which I'm very thankful for. It's brutally hot out there, but I'm glad I got to golf. And I haven't golfed in a few weeks, actually, so it was nice to actually get out there.
Did you do good?
No.
No.
You suck.
What an absolute disaster that was. But all right, let's get into this. We got 10 guys. I got 5 guys. Manny's got 5 guys. We're going to give you guys that we are staying away from in drafts. Now, this could be because of where they're going in drafts, injury concerns, what else? Quarterback play. So it could be a ton of factors here, but we're going to each give you 5 guys. And Manny, I'm going to have you kick it off first. Who you got?
All right, I'm gonna start with Puka Nakua, and it's not that I don't like him. I'm not hating on him. He's a great player. He had a great season last year, but I think he had a lot of extra opportunity because Cup was hurt, and then they had like a whole carousel of running backs getting hurt going on there. And I think this year, if that team stays healthy, he's not going to be worth that round 1 pick for me. I don't think he's going to. Last year, he didn't even hit 200 fantasy points. It was just a little shy. It was 193. But if you look at like everybody else at the top, like they've all hit or been around above the 200, like 215, and so for points. And that's if you're going first round, like you want the most points out of that player first round. So he's going end of round 1. And he only got 6 touchdowns last year, with all that opportunity. So to me, it's he got a lot of receptions. He had a lot of targets. He had 160 targets total. So, and on top of it, with Cup being back, the DBs are going to be ready for like both of them. So first off, they might be probably favoring Puka now just because of the whole hype around him, and you still got Cup there too. And if Cup stays healthy, that's round 1 material right there too. If he had a good season. So my first one, like I said, Puka Nakua.
So you're off on Pikachu is what I call him.
If he were to drop, like,
yeah,
I would say maybe like maybe the end of round 2, I'd probably maybe I'd start grabbing him over there. That would be nice. I think that'd be a nice spot, or even beginning of round 3.
And that's the thing too with Puka is that now that Cup is back and he says he's healthy, you can get Cup 3 or 4 rounds later now. So would it be better to pass on Puka Nakua and take Cup, who's capable of really great things? But the problem with Cup is the injury history risk that you're going to have to take with that. So yeah, you may be getting value with Cup, but you may be getting the consistency with Puka in that first round. But I kind of agree. This guy was a waiver wire pickup, and now he's all the way in the first round. And you're right about the opportunities. There were games where he had to have 15, 16 catches. But again, like you said, scoring under 200 fantasy points, cool, you can have all those receptions. But if it doesn't translate to points, then and he kind of took a little bit dip because you were right also too. Karen Williams also missed a couple games as well. So Puka's opportunities were really, really high. And if you get all these guys coming back, you could probably see a little bit of dip in that. I expect the Rams to be really good offensively. Stafford is really good. I expect them to put up points. I expect everybody to get their fair share. But first round material, like you said, it not like you're shying away from him. It's more of his draft. So his draft position is what is stopping you from getting him here. You're not off him because of anything else but that. Like you said, you take him at the end of the second round.
He already had a real good season. I don't think he can do better than that this year. That's my concern.
Right. And I kind of agree with that. I like Pikachu. I'm a big Pikachu guy. I like Puka Nakua. But
he is
again,
he's good.
I, like you had said, just I'm just a little when I'm in the back round of the first round and I see his name, I cannot pull the trigger. I just don't feel confident to do that. I've done a couple best balls and he's there, and I don't do it. I do not pull the trigger on him. I always, and that'll be the downfall of me. I do 100 best ball leagues and I don't take Puka, and he's going to be the number 1 player in fantasy this year. Watch. All right, moving on. I got it. Maybe get like 1 draft with him. Maybe a Rams stack. Maybe I could do something like that. All right. My number 5 guy is going to be Xavier Worthy. And look, I get it. He's fast. And I think a lot of people love that. But for me, rounds 6 through 7, I just cannot take him. Being drafted, he's being taken ahead of Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown. And we obviously don't know what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. He may be available week 1 and he may not be suspended. I see him go as high as round 5, and there is just no way I'm taking him there. There are players on this team that have the trust of Mahomes, and you brought in Hollywood Brown. People are going to say, well, Rice was a rookie and he did okay, and he did. His target share after the bye week was great, but honestly, the Chiefs had no receivers last year to throw to, so he had to be relied on, and he came through. He earned the trust of Patrick Mahomes. Also for me too is Xavier Worthy's size, he kind of reminds me of Tank Dell. He's pretty much the same size. They're 5'10", 160 pounds. I see him being more of a later in the season type guy, maybe. So in best ball, I'll grab this guy in some drafts. But redraft leagues, if people want to take the risk at drafting him in rounds 5 through 7, you can have him. And by that time, we should know more about Rashee Rice. But for now, pass. He's just not going to be useful on your team for the first couple weeks. And I assume he will be the first one to go when you're looking on the waiver wire after week 1. All right, Manny, who you got? What's your next guy?
So my next guy is Houston Texan, and that would be Stephon Diggs. His ADP right now is about around number 39, so that's like the end of round 3 and round 4. And I just think that's real high for him, considering that there's so many weapons in Houston right now, and he's the newest one technically, so he's the least familiar with the system, the least familiar, with CJ Stroud. And if you go back to last year, technically his last 5 games, he was under 10 points each in all of them.
Yeah, he had a rough end of the year.
He did. He had a rough end of the year, and that was with Josh Allen. So, I mean, I'm not saying, CJ Stroud can't, but he has a lot of people to feed right now, and I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to be like the round, like I said, round 3, 4, value. I think, again, just like a lot of people, when they fall, minds can be changed for certain people. Maybe not with him on my part, though, but I just don't think that, he's going to be there, with the value on that part.
Mm-hmm. And I made that episode a couple weeks ago where I picked a couple teams where I don't know what to do with these players, and one of them was the Texans, because Nico, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, they all literally go within a round of each other, and you just don't know which one is gonna come through. And the funny thing is, sometimes when you draft like Nico Collins in the 2nd or 3rd round, when it comes back to you, you have a shot now at Tank Dell. And it's like, oh man, I can't take him because now I have Nico and I'll have to waste another pick. But if you don't take Nico, then Dell might not come to you. So it's very weird with that team. So I've really tried to stay away. Like, again, in best ball, if you're trying to do best ball and stack these teams, then that's okay. But in redraft leagues, you're not going to take 2 guys from the same team back to back. It's just not going to happen. For me, it's not going to happen. I don't do that. Especially in like our home fantasy league, it's not happening. I'm staying far away from that. And it's tough because you want some of that offense, but you just don't know which guy is going to be the guy. See, for me, I'd rather much have CJ Stroud because he's got weapons. He's going to put up the numbers. It's just, I don't know who to pair him with. Is it Nico Collins? Is it Tank Dell? Is it Stephon Diggs? And are you going to waste an early 2nd round pick for Nico, or take, Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell in that 3rd and 4th round? It's just impossible to judge right now. And even when preseason starts, you still probably won't know until the actual year starts. And by that time, everybody's been drafted already.
Yeah, it's pretty much who favors who, like who favors which receivers, where, they're just going to go with it.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, fuck the Texans. Shout out to you, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, my next guy is going to be J.K. Dobbins. And now I know he gets drafted around 12 through 14, but still, if you're looking for a running back in the later rounds, please choose someone else besides this guy. I do not know why people draft him. He is good when healthy, but that's the problem, health. He's now on the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers will be a high-scoring team this year. Plus, he will be sharing the backfield with Gus Edwards and rookie Kamani Vidal. Both Edwards and Dobbins coming off surgeries, and Vidal is probably behind them on the depth chart, but the track record of running backs coming back from ACL tears the first year back is not good. He tore his ACL in August of 2021, missed the whole season. He played only 8 games in 2022 due to the issues with the same knee. Then tore his ACL week 1 last year. He's played 9 games over 3 seasons. You can take guys like Rico Dowdle, Marshawn Lloyd, teammate Kamani Vidal, Chuba Hubbard, right around where Dobbins is being drafted. And we're talking way later in the draft. But as the draft approaches, you may hear good things about Dobbins coming out of camp, but I would not bite at all. All right, Manny, who you got next?
All right, next is a familiar face for me, Devontae Adams, and he's going around 2, which honestly, if I remember correctly, I think I got him like round 3 last year.
So you're talking about my league, right?
Yeah.
You got him right in the middle. I think you had pick 5 or 6, and you got him right in the middle.
Yeah.
And I was actually really shocked how you got Kelsey, Josh Allen and Devontae Adams. And when I
Yeah.
looked at that, I was like, wow, that is really good.
Yeah,
But
that was fun.
Devontae kind of
Yeah.
screwed you over a little
Yeah,
bit on that one.
I had people save me at least, but
Right.
this year, round 2, he's going like round number 16. That means if you didn't pick a wide receiver in round 1, he's going to be your wide receiver 1. And I know he's capable. I know he's a superstar, but again, QB who over there? Like,
Yeah, for real. For real.
That, if it's Minshew, I mean,
And I
he's
like
okay.
Minshew, but I don't
Yeah.
trust him at all
Yeah,
to get the job done.
It's not, again, I don't think there's a quarterback that can give him the production that is going to be round 2 worthy. And then, you got Jacoby Myers there. You got Zamir White. So
yeah, you got 2 tight ends now. You got Brock Bowers. You got Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers. Alexander Madison is there now.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I forgot about him. And if you look at other names that go around Devontae Adams, you got like Karen Williams, you got Derrick Henry, like Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London. You can pick any, one of any of those would be better. I think would be a better risk to take. If
I would at this point, I would definitely take Drake London over Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's,
or even at that point, like I said, I would grab Karen Williams at that point, Derrick Henry. I know people are hating on Henry, but I would even take Henry at that point too. Like, just get a good running back if you don't have that top wide receiver you want. Mm-hmm. That's so. If he fell to the point where like I could pick him up as like my wide receiver 2, wide receiver 2, I think it'd be okay with. That might be fine. But as a wide receiver 1 this year, I don't think I'm comfortable with that with him. And last year too, he had 11 total games with less than 10 points.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that was horrible. It was a bummer. So
yeah, when you're sitting there watching Jacoby Myers catch everything and get all these touchdowns. And that's what kind of killed you in my league. You had a great year in my league last year, and I think the last couple weeks, started to see some cracks. But you did a really good job on the waiver wire last year. You got Kieran Williams. I think you got another receiver that you did really. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly. But because of like even Kelsey, you took him first round, and he didn't come anywhere close to Kelsey like season. He did. I just think it wasn't first round material you drafted. So your early guys that you drafted kind of sucked. Besides Josh Allen. But not sucked. You know what I mean? Didn't live up to their potential, but you did a really good job later in the draft and on the waiver wire to cover that.
Yeah. Well, they didn't hit their ceiling, but they all still sort of had, Devontae Adams' floor kind of fell through, but even Travis Kelce still kind of had a floor there that was better than most tight ends. So that was, even though it was round 1, he still helped. But again, Josh Allen kind of was just the backbone of my team.
Oh, yeah. And the year before, I had Josh Allen, and I made it to I co-champed 2022 because of DeMar Hamlin. Thanks again, buddy. But Josh Allen has been on, I think the last three years, he's been on. You made it to the playoffs. I made it to the championship, and the person that had him before me made it to the championship, I think, as well. So Josh Allen has been really good. But Devontae Adams, I totally agree, man. If he was being drafted, that second round of wide receivers is very difficult as well to predict because you got Marvin Harrison Jr. in there. Never seen him play in the NFL. You got Devontae Adams. Not really too sure about him. You got Chris Olave, who I love Chris Olave, but that team with Derek Carr as quarterback, I don't like it. And they didn't really add to anybody for that Saints offense. And Alvin Kamara is a year older. So I like Chris Olave, but second round, I think those second round wide receivers are very dangerous to play with, where in the second round, running back wise, you're looking at guys like you said, Derrick Henry, you can get a Josh Jacobs, a Travis Etienne, a Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Karen Williams. The running back position in round 2, I would take over Devontae Adams, which maybe in a couple weeks, maybe that happens. Maybe more running backs are taken in that. Maybe people realize like, hey, look at all these running backs in round 2, which pushes Adams now into the third round. But who knows? I know I love I have always loved Devontae Adams. And it's very tough for me to admit that, when he's there in round 2 for me, I'm not going to take him though. I feel the same way you do. I'm going to look at a running back or maybe more of an upside wide receiver that has a better quarterback, like a Nico Collins, something like that. Because you're right. Again, here we are talking about Devontae Adams, but it's more about the quarterback play. Because if Devontae Adams was on the Texans, the Bills, the Chiefs, somewhere like that, he's a first round pick, and there's no debate. And he might be the first player if he's on one of those type of teams.
Yep.
But unfortunately, he plays with a team that does not have a quarterback, which is why, again, this is why we're off. And I agree. I agree with all of your picks that when you sent them to me, I agreed with every single one of them. So my next guy is going to be Jordan Addison, another guy that I like. But I think some of why I'm not in on Jordan Addison is the same reason why Justin Jefferson seems to be slipping, and that's the quarterback. And Addison's numbers for the first 8 weeks, he scored 7 touchdowns, only 3 in his last 9 games. And when you look at the games Kirk Cousins played, he played up until week 8. And we saw a decline in QB play on the Vikings after that, and it showed up in Addison's box score. He does have some off the field issues going on right now. He got a DUI, so maybe he has a suspension coming, but maybe they want to do that next year. I like Addison. I really do. But round 6, I don't know if I can do it. I see some touchdown regression. Factor in they signed Aaron Jones, who's going to be getting involved in the passing game. I don't know what it is, but something is telling me to stay away from this guy. I think he will be okay as a solid flex starter, maybe, and don't expect consistency on a week-to-week basis. And where he's being selected, you need to have players that are consistent. All right, Manny, who is your next guy?
So my next guy is a running back by the name of Alvin Kamara. So right now his ADP is around 55, which is around round 5. And my thing with him is he's always missing games. And if you want to keep him on the field, you're going to have to give him the ball less. And, they have Kendre Miller there. They also have Jamal Williams there, which he was pretty non-existent last year. But I think Jamal Williams still got a little bit in the tank there. I think, if they might use more of a community approach with their running backs because, again, if you overplay him, he's just going to get hurt. So might as well just, I think the combination of those 3 running backs could be decent for them, if they kind of did a little rotation with them or something. But like last year, he had less than 500 yards for receiving. So they do throw him the ball, but at the same time, that's not a lot of yards either with that. And as far as, like I said, as far as rushing, he's not I don't think they're going to just give it to him 10, 15 times a game because you're just asking for him to get hurt that way. So I just think this year they're going to smarten up and use him less, use the younger guy, like I said, Kendre Miller, use him a little more, and maybe even sprinkle some Jamal Williams in there. And if they don't do that, then he's literally going to get hurt.
Yeah, I'm totally off on Kamara. He fucked me over 2 years ago, and when players do that to me, I don't even look at them on the board. And like you said, he's going in round 5, and I think it's the same thing kind of with Devontae Adams, where he's going in round 2. There are a lot of running backs in round 2 that I would take over Adams. Where I look in round 5, where Kamara is being taken, and you can get guys like Kyle Pitts, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, George Pickens, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, and I'd rather have any of those guys over Alvin Kamara. Right. I think after doing a bunch of these mock drafts and best balls that I do, I realize that maybe taking a running back first round this year, or I'm sorry, for running back the first 2 rounds this year is beneficial because you can really hammer out wide receivers round 3 through 6. And because the drop off for running backs in that zone is kind of hit or miss. You got guys like Ken Walker, who the hell else is going on? Like Ramondre Stevenson. And I just don't know if I want those guys. Where in the first 2 rounds, you can pair up a Breece Hall with a Travis Etienne, or a Derrick Henry, or a Jonathan Taylor with a Travis Etienne. I'd rather get those 2 running backs than have to deal with a guy like Alvin Kamara. And again, like I said, I'm totally off on Kamara. I don't even look his way. 2 years ago, he screwed me over. I want nothing to do with that guy. I don't care what production he has. Right. But it would not surprise me if he does do good. He's a running back that, I really don't know. It's so hard to determine where Kamara is going to, how he's going to do, because I don't have any faith in that Saints offense. I just don't. As long as Derek Carr is back there, I have no faith, none. Even Chris Olave, I want to draft him so badly, but I don't expect anything great because of the
Yeah.
quarterback. And I kind of feel the same way with Kamara, where that offense is not going to be good. I don't think so. They don't, after Olave and Kamara, they don't have anybody.
Yeah.
They don't. So I don't see it. I don't see it this year from the Saints. Any of these Saints players, I'm kind of staying away from. I do like Olave. Olave is lucky he didn't make it on this list. He might have. He came close, but
I
we
think he's
shied
the
away
only
from
one
him.
that actually, if anything were to happen, I think he would be the only one that you could draft on that team, though.
Yep. Yeah, I would definitely take him over Alvin Kamara. I'm not touching Alvin
Oh,
Kamara this year.
oh,
No fucking way.
yeah.
My next guy is going to be Nick Chubb. I'm going to say kind of the same thing I did about J.K. Dobbins. These running backs that have suffered ACL tears, especially during the season, you almost cannot count on them the next year. Go back to Dobbins, even guys like Javonte Williams. Now, I didn't have Chubb. I had somebody else, but now I'm doing these mock drafts and some best ball leagues, and he was being taken way later in drafts. I took him in round 12 in my best ball league, or 13, I can't remember. Mock drafts, he was being taken in the same round, maybe a few spots later. But now in best ball, he's going between rounds 5 and 7. And mock drafts, I'm seeing he's creeping up now into the 7th round. And I just think that is a big mistake. You're willing to spend an early pick on a guy who may not even start the year. And when he comes back, he's going to be eased into playing time because remember, the Browns have Deontay Foreman and Jerome Ford. Him squatting 500 pounds is great, but I don't think I'm worried about him squatting. I'm worried about him cutting, playing on turf, weather games as well. If he plays in the rain or snow, I'll be holding my breath every time he touches the ball. You could draft him early and maybe put him in the IR spot. But again, ask yourself, are you willing to take him in those early rounds now and not get the return in value at that spot? All right, Manny, I believe we are on your final guy. Who is it?
Yeah. So my final guy is Cortland Sutton. And he's going, around round 9, which isn't like super major, but there are a lot of other people you could take a risk on. I mean, Cortland Sutton right now, he's got, is Bo Nix like confirmed starting there, right? Bo Nix?
I haven't
Maybe
really
not.
done too much research on the Broncos because
Yeah,
I am not
exactly.
drafting any of those fucking players. So
So, I mean,
no
Cortland
shot.
Sutton last year was average. And, if you want average, sure, I guess you can go for Cortland Sutton around 9, but I don't even think he's going to get that average this year. He doesn't, he had Russell Wilson, and that is, what made him average. At least Russell Wilson was able to get him the ball. I just don't think, that, bringing if they start a rookie quarterback, like I said, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud was just an animal last year. Not every rookie quarterback is going to come into the NFL and be a professional. They always have growing pains.
Honestly, there is a huge difference between the number 2 pick overall and the number 14 pick overall.
Right.
And I know it's first round and, whatever, but that's a huge gap.
Yeah.
And CJ Stroud is a much better quarterback than Bo Nix. And it shows, obviously, Stroud was in some mock drafts, he was the first quarterback over Bryce Young. And he went with the number 2 pick. Bo Nix was not in consideration for a top 3 pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, Cortland Sutton's not going to be going out of his way and making big plays to help his fantasy value. So, it's again, a bad quarterback play is just going to, suck for him.
And I think the target share will be there because Jerry Jeudy now is not in Denver. But at the same time, I just don't see that team scoring points.
Get the ball to him.
I look for points. I want teams. I want fantasy players that I know their teams are capable of scoring maybe 30 points a week. Give me guys from the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Texans. Those are the guys that you want. You want guys that are gonna have double-digit touchdowns. And Cortland Sutton, it's not going to get there this year. It's not going to happen. I don't have
that exact stat in front of me, but I can probably guarantee you he definitely get double-digit touchdowns last year for sure.
No, And he had Russell Wilson throwing him the ball, and they had some good weeks. And Cortland Sutton was a good player last year. I remember 2 years ago I took him.
He was average, and that was he did what I'm pretty sure we got him super late.
That's fine for a late round pick if you want to take that, and that's cool. But do you think he's going to do that again this year? Probably not. Not with this guy at quarterback. I don't trust there are teams that I am totally out on. Saints are one of them, and the Broncos are another one. And kind of the Raiders too. The Raiders are in that same category. I'm not taking anybody on those teams. I'm just
Right.
not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. All right. Well, we are down to the last guy, and it is going to be my Don't Doubt Dave player not to take in this year's draft. And I know I'm going to get killed for this one, but it is going to be Josh Allen. He has been the number one quarterback for the last 4 years. He had 44 total touchdowns last year, but he's being taken at his ceiling at the worst possible time. He's going to be a mid-second to mid-third round pick while having the second most vacated targets on his team to also go along with his 22 turnovers. No more Diggs and no more Gabe Davis. And they replaced those guys with Curtis Samuel and rookie Keon Coleman. I'm a huge fan of Josh Allen, but I know when it's time to get off the wagon. His aggressive play style worries me a lot. I think he's going to try and do too much to make up for the talent at wide receiver position, which will lead to more mistakes. And the cost for Allen, where you can get a great running back in round 2 and 3 and some number 1 receivers as well, is way too high for me. Wait a few rounds, get an Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson, maybe even Kyler if he's looking healthy. And these guys go 3 to 4 rounds later. He scores so many touchdowns and rushes for so many yards, people overlook the turnovers because it's fantasy. We don't give a shit if he throws an interception as long as he scores 40 points.
He is a turnover machine, and what made up for that was it was kind of like close your eyes and wait till the end,
Right.
and you'll be okay with him. But if you try to watch him play, you would have a heart attack being a Josh Allen.
100%.
And this year, you're right. I think I feel it. All your picks, I think I agree with that too. So we're all on the same page, I think, here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't hate them. We just hate the situation.
Right. All right, Manny. Well, thank you for coming on. Hopefully, you can get your DraftKings situation figured out so you can do some best ball drafts with me. Hopefully, come on, DraftKings. Help my dude out here with this fucking shit. He's been trying to get on for years now. Yeah, fucking holding him back from making money, douchebags.
It always let me do the fantasy. Just the sports book is what always gave me an issue with.
Yeah. So. But all right, dude. Thanks again for joining me. Hopefully, we get you back on here quicker. And I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Spotify and Spotify for podcasters for letting your man come up and do his thing. Also, big thanks to Manny for helping me out today. You can catch him on YouTube at Manny Fresh Collects. He has some videos up, so go check him out. And now you can find me on YouTube as I am putting up episodes up there as well. So go find me, Don't Doubt Dave, and subscribe. So thank you to YouTube as well. Going to maybe do another live draft for best ball soon, so be on the lookout for that. Some ADPs will most likely have changed by that time, so we'll see how things play out. I'm going to get out of here and try to finish off Final Fantasy X while Gigi is on vacation. So I'll catch you guys next time.